Hello and welcome to another University Deep Dive. Today we're looking at Texas Tech University and we're joined by student David Martin. David, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're excited to get started. We're excited to learn more about Texas Tech. And to get us started, we're going to turn it over to Spencer.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. And David, again, thank you for your contribution here. The people watching this video, they're thinking long and hard about real estate, thinking possibly long and hard about Texas Tech, or maybe they're already Texas Tech underclassmen who are going, do I study real estate or do I, just spend time in accounting for the rest of my career? And, that's really the decision, right? Am I going to sit behind a computer as an accountant all of my days, or I'm going to do an exciting career like real estate? And so that's who's listening. That's who's watching. Let's start out by asking this question, and that is, what does it mean to be a real estate student, an undergraduate real estate student at Texas Tech University?
Well, I think what makes the real estate program at Texas Tech really valuable is because, like you said, when students are wondering if they should study real estate, because the program is a certificate in finance, they can choose to go the finance route, and later on, maybe when they're a sophomore, junior year, begin the real estate concentration. And so they can kind of either way and decide later on throughout their degree.
Yeah, so let's unpack that a little bit more. So there's a certificate, but there's also a real estate concentration. Walk us through that.
So I misspoke. It's a concentration, specifically, only a concentration. So, and that's a concentration in real estate through the finance BBA. And so that consists of about 5 real estate courses, plus or minus. You can choose to take an internship, summer internship that will count as one of your courses. There's a few different varieties you can do that would take part of a class out of the equation. But yeah, so you can start the real estate concentration when you're a sophomore with real estate fundamentals taught by Professor Jared Harrell. He's actually the faculty advisor of the real estate organization, which is really tied together with the concentration in finance degree. They kind of go hand in hand. It seems that a lot of the students who are in that real estate concentration take part in the organization.
Got it. Okay, so that makes a lot more sense. You major in finance, and then you concentrate in real estate. And that concentration begins as a sophomore, or can it happen later in your time at
it can happen later. Obviously, like some courses are taught only in the spring versus some in the fall. So you have to get that planning right, but it's not complicated. It's fairly simple to do.
So, and there's roughly, call it 5 classes that are part of that concentration. What are those classes? You don't have to name them off exactly, but generally speaking, what are you learning in those classes? Is it principles? Are they finance? Is it development? Or what exactly are taught in those classes?
They cover about everything, a little bit about everything. So there's real estate law, there's real estate fundamentals, which is just the real basic, explaining like markets and basic finance rules of real estate. And then you have real estate finance, which deep dives into calculating, financial statements and, CapEx and a variety of other calculations. And then we have real estate appraisal. I'm actually in that right now, taught by Professor Lonnie Hendry. That's a really interesting class, just going over all the types of appraisals. And then I've got them actually pulled up in front of me. Real estate finance, real estate law, real estate appraisal. And then there's also financial modeling, which is not specifically a real estate course, but it's really helpful, of course, through commercial real estate finance modeling, and that's basically required, it seems, to be an analyst now in the market.
Well, that's for sure. Some of the most value you add as a young analyst, regardless of the role in real estate, is related to real estate financial modeling. So that's good to hear. So you're making this election to concentrate in real estate at some point in your sophomore or even junior year. Like, how do you learn about the real estate concentration? I mean, what events, what organizations, like, how did you, in your case, David, like, know that even that real estate was even an option? And did you learn this before you arrived at Tech, or was it through something while you're on campus there you already discovered real estate as a discipline to study?
I think as a finance major, when you go through the freshman process of choosing your first classes, they kind of set you up properly and kind of give you the routes you can take in the finance degree. So we also have a certificate in banking that you could do instead, or you could do both. So in the beginning process as a freshman, they kind of set out the variety of plans you have available to you. And as a freshman, I think I had a deep interest in real estate. So I had that in my mind that I was going to do the concentration in real estate. And then as a sophomore, I believe I started taking the introductory real estate courses.
So let's talk about extracurriculars. So some great classroom options for learning the business. How else do you get exposure to the industry outside of the classroom?
So that would come from the real estate organization. It's called REO, and we have monthly meetings. We have industry trips, which are really great. This past fall, we went to Dallas and visited, I think, 12 firms: CBRE, JLL, Marks and Millichap, and several others. And that's just a really great experience for students. We take about 15 students. You submit a resume and interview for the trip. And we have about 30, 40 applicants and take about 15 students. It's a really great experience to bond with like your other roommate or your roommates on the trip, who are obviously your fellow students, and then with industry professionals.
Great. So industry professionals, are these Texas Tech alumni, not alumni? And then what interaction do you have with real estate alumni from Tech?
So luckily, there are a lot of real estate alumni that we stay connected with. Oftentimes we'll meet with them when we go to Dallas, or sometimes we have a Houston trip as well. But we stay connected with the alumni a lot, and in a variety of work in the industry, brokerage and development as well. And they're really active. It seems that, like I said earlier, the real estate organization is really close together with the concentration in finance degree or in real estate, and so that kind of brings them all together, I think. And they're really willing to come and speak to us as well. Like, so obviously during COVID, we're having monthly meetings, webinars with these alumni, but it's really helpful.
Got it. So let's talk a little bit about Lubbock, Texas. Okay. So many of the universities we've looked at are in larger cities, so you're right next to the employers. You're taking these trips to Dallas, you're taking trips to Austin, to Houston, right? And perhaps outside of Texas. What is it like studying real estate in Lubbock? Do you feel like it's an advantage or a disadvantage? And then maybe a little bit about what you enjoy about studying in a place like Lubbock.
Okay, well, I guess a lot of people would say it's a disadvantage, studying here, but we make the greatest effort to get experience in those markets: Dallas, Houston, even Denver is a trip we've planned. And so we do as much as you possibly can to get out there and get experience. But I think studying in Lubbock kind of helps a lot. There's minimal distractions, to say the least. But it's a great time up here.
I studied real estate in a little tiny town in upstate New York, and I completely agree with you. There's advantage of being in large cities, but I interestingly enough, you can get on the phone with alumni, whether you are studying up the street for them or you're hours and hours away, and those calls are just as impactful. But there's a benefit to being in a smaller place where your focus is on the core cohort of people you're studying with, which, by the way, those individuals are your network for the rest of your career. And so having that sort of tight knit group. And anyway, so it's an interesting discussion because, it's one thing to study in Dallas and be right there, and another to study in a small place, but they do have their benefits, one or the other. So I appreciate your insight. Let's talk a little bit about outcomes. Okay, so where geographically are you seeing your colleagues, your students who are graduating in real estate or a concentration in real estate from tech? Where are they ending up geographically, and in what roles and what types of companies are they going to work for?
Of course. So we have several people going to Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth. Even I think we had 2 in Denver in the past year. And then also our previous was actually in El Paso, appraisals. So basically anywhere you'd like to go. I think we have connections about everywhere, luckily.
Good. And what about the types of roles? Is it brokerage? Is it development? Is it acquisitions, asset management, portfolio management, consulting? What type of roles in real estate are you seeing students coming out of tech going into?
A little bit of everything. So I've got a friend in Houston working for Hines in development. We've got friends in brokerage in Dallas with JLL. It's really great. There's quite a variety.
Yeah, having worked, I spent 5 years working in real estate in Texas, and tech is quite influential. The alumni base is large and very, how do I put it, excited about their school and helping young tech students come out and into industry. And so certainly if you're coming out and you're looking to work in Texas, Texas has a great advantage. What about those who want to work outside of Texas? You mentioned Denver. Are you seeing opportunities outside of kind of the region, or would you say if you're studying real estate at Tech, you should expect to land a job more within the region?
I'd say, yeah, maybe closer, in Texas would be more ideal. That's just because, less people are traveling probably out of Texas to get real estate jobs right now, it seems, from at least the group that I'm with. But we have friends, like I said, people going to Denver. I've seen a bunch of jobs being posted in Phoenix. So, I mean, there's variety everywhere. And I'm sure with the skills that, the real estate concentration at Tech can provide, you could land a job anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're running out of time, David, and I want to make sure to ask you this final question. We ask it of everyone in these profiles, and that is, as you look back now, your last few years studying real estate at Tech, is there one specific event that you can point to that's most impactful on your career and your trajectory to date?
I'd say, rather than an event, I'd say a mentor. So like I mentioned Professor Jared Harrell. He is the professor of the Real Estate Fundamentals course, which is the introduction course of real estate. And he continues to teach several other classes throughout the concentration. And he's just been great. He mentored all of his students, builds connections for you, and he'll vouch for you, which is really great.
That's good to hear. Yeah, good to hear.
Also the faculty advisor of the real estate organization.
Well, it's good to have those mentors. They're incredibly valuable to your career. Thank you, David, for joining us. And Sam, I'll turn it back to you.
Yes, thank you, David, so much. We appreciate you being here. And to our viewers and readers at Adventures in CRE, thanks for watching this, another University Deep Dive.